Welcome back to the Empowered, the space where we explore, heal, and grow together. I'm your host, Alkistis, and today we're talking about something I think we've all wrestled at the start of the new year: resolutions. Let me ask you, how many times have you set a New Year's solution only to find yourself frustrated, discouraged, or even guilty when it didn't stick? You're not alone. Resolutions often come with pressure, rigid timelines, and focus on external achievements. But what if there was a different way? Today, I want to invite you to shift from resolutions to intentions. Intentions aren't about what you need to do. They're about how you want to feel and who you want to become. This episode isn't just about setting goals. It's about creating a life that feels aligned, meaningful, and true to who you are. So put your headphones on or just settle in and let's start redefining how we approach the new year. And don't forget, if you're listening right now, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment, introduce yourself, and don't forget to subscribe as you never miss an episode. So, let's begin. Let's start with the basics. What's the difference between a resolution and an intention? Resolutions often sound like this: I will lose 10 pounds by March. I will save 5,000 this year. I will stop procrastinating. They're specific, measurable, and goal-oriented, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But here's the catch. Resolutions often come from a place of lack. They're focused on what's wrong, what needs fixing, or what you think you should do. Whereas intentions, on the other hand, shift the focus to how you want to feel. For example, instead of I will lose 10 pounds, try I am nourishing my body with care and love. Instead, I will save 5,000, try I am building a relationship with abundance and financial freedom. Do you see the difference? Resolutions focus on the outcome, while intentions focus on the journey. They allow you to grow, adapt, and align with your deeper values rather than tying your worth to a specific result. I'll be honest, there were years where I lived for resolutions. I loved the idea of starting fresh, of setting big goals, and of proving to myself and others that I could achieve them. But more often than not, by mid-year, or let's be real, mid-February, I'd feel like a failure. One year, I resolved to learn French, and I bought all the books, signed up for all the classes, and told everyone about it. But I didn't ask myself why I wanted to do it. Was it because I genuinely loved French? Or was it because I thought it would make me look disciplined or impressive? Spoiler alert, it was the second. By the time I was supposed to give the first diploma, I wasn't prepared and I failed and felt so embarrassed. That experience taught me that goals without meaning are just empty promises we make to ourselves. Intentions, on the other hand, feel different. They're about tuning into your values, honoring where you are, and creating space for growth that feels authentic. Before we set intentions for the new year, it's important to reflect on the year that's ending. This isn't about judging ourselves for what we did or didn't do. It's about honoring the journey. Here are some questions to help you reflect. What moments brought you joy this past year? What challenges stretched you the most? And what values did you lean into? And which ones did you neglect? For me, the past year was about redefining success. My business had been growing, but I realized that the version of success I was chasing didn't align with who I was becoming. And I had to pivot, which meant letting go of projects that looked great on the outside, but didn't feel right on the inside. And it was painful, but it taught me to prioritize alignment over achievement. What about you? What did that year teach you about yourself? Gratitude is a powerful part of reflection. Even in the hardest moments, there's something to be grateful for. Whether it's the lessons you've learned, the people who supported you, or the resilience you discovered within yourself. Take a moment to think about what you're grateful for this year. Write it down. Let it remind you of your strength and growth. So let's unpack resolutions and why they don't work. First, resolutions tend to focus on what instead of the why. According to Catherine Milkman, a behavioral scientist, resolutions often fail because they rely on what she calls temporal landmarks. Moments like January 1st, where we feel motivated to start fresh. But motivation is fleeting, and without a sustainable system, we fall into old habits. So, what's the alternative? Instead of chasing perfection, we focus on progress. Instead of fixing ourselves, we choose to honor ourselves. And instead of resolutions, we set intentions. Here's the good news. Small changes lead to big results. And let me explain it with a metaphor. Imagine a ship that's traveling across the ocean. If the captain adjusts the course by just 1 degree, it might not seem like much but in the moment. But over time, that tiny shift leads the ship to an entirely different destination. That's the power of small intentions. They're manageable, sustainable, and they compound over time. Let's say your intention is to feel more energized this year. Instead of resolving to overhaul your entire diet, start with one small step. Drinking a glass of water before your morning coffee. That one habit can create a ripple effect. You'll feel hydrated, you'll make better food choices, and over time you'll have more energy. But let's talk about the overwhelm because it's one of the biggest reasons people abandon their resolutions. When we set big, glossy goals, they can feel exciting at first. But when life gets busy, those goals start to feel like just another thing on our to-do list. And what happens? We don't follow through. We feel guilty, frustrated, and overwhelmed. The key to overcoming overwhelm is to take ownership of your year, not by doing more, but by doing what matters. So unless you're driving, grab your journal and write down the following questions. What's one area of my life where I feel overwhelmed? What's one small step I can take to simplify or improve that area? How can I focus on progress instead of perfection? Remember, ownership isn't about having it all figured out. It's about showing up for yourself one small step at a time. Oprah said it best. The key to realizing a dream isn't focusing on success, but on significance. And then even the smallest steps, little victories along your path will take on greater meaning. Every small step you take forward, your intention, is a victory worth celebrating. Research from Harvard shows that celebrating small wins triggers dopamine in the brain, which motivates us to keep going. It's like giving yourself a high five every time you make progress. So instead of waiting until you achieve a big goal to celebrate, find joy in the small victories. Did you drink more water today? Celebrate that. Did you take 5 minutes to journal? Celebrate that. Did you say no to something that didn't align with your values? Celebrate that. This year, one of my intentions was to create more meaningful connections. It didn't mean scheduling big events or extravagant dinners. It meant sending a quick text to a friend I hadn't spoken to in a while, or sitting down with my kids 15 minutes without distractions. Those moments were small, but they brought so much joy, and I celebrated them. Now that we talked about why resolutions often don't work and how small intentions can create a big change, let's focus on the bigger picture, building your year of purpose. This isn't about setting the glossy goals or doing more. It's about aligning your life with what truly matters to you. Let's start with a question. What does purpose mean to you? For some, it might mean pursuing a passion or career that feels deeply fulfilling. For others, it might mean focusing on relationships, self-care, or simply being present. Your purpose doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to change the world. It just has to feel authentic to you. For me, this year, purpose has been about connection. I've learned that building meaningful relationships with my family, my community, and even myself is what fuels me. It hasn't been about how much I accomplish or how much I made, but about the quality of the moments I create. Building a purposeful year starts with identifying your values. What are the core principles that guide your decisions? Is it honesty, creativity, family, freedom, or growth? Once you're clear about your values, you can use them as your compass to guide your choices. For example, if one of your values is family, how can you prioritize time with your loved ones in the year ahead? If it's creativity, how can you carve out space for artistic expression or innovation? If it's freedom, what can you let go to feel more liberated? Here's the truth about purpose. It's not a destination. It's not something you arrive at after checking off a list of achievements. Purpose is found in the present moment. Think about it. The most meaningful experiences in your life, whether it's a deep conversation with a friend, a creative breakthrough, or a moment of stillness, don't come from doing more. They come from being present. And this year, I've made a conscious effort to slow down and savor those moments. One of my favorite memories is sitting by the fireplace with my kids, watching them fall asleep as we shared stories. It wasn't planned or perfect, but it was deeply purposeful. Let's start talking about how you can build your year of purpose, starting today. Create a joy list. Write down 10 things that bring you joy, big or small. Commit to doing more of these things in the new year. Schedule what matters. If it's not just on your calendar, It's easy to let it slip. Block out time for the things that align with your values. Practice gratitude. Every night, write down one thing that made you feel purposeful that day. Over time, this practice will help you see the meaning in everyday moments. Declutter your commitments. Review your schedule and ask yourself, does this activity align with my purpose? If not, consider letting it go. And last, set boundaries. Protect your energy by saying no to what drains you and yes to what fills you. I love how Oprah frames purpose. Your real job in life is to figure out as soon as possible who you are and to begin to honor that in the best way possible. And as Brené Brown says it beautifully, authenticity is in the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Both remind us of the purpose isn't about perfection or pleasing others. It's about living in alignment with your truth. Your purpose is unique to you. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's, and it doesn't have to impress anyone else. What matters is that it feels true to you. In the year ahead, I hope you'll give yourself permission to honor your values, follow your joy, and create a life that feels deeply meaningful. And if you ever feel lost along the way, just remember, purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create. As we wrap up this episode and this year, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your purpose is already within you. It's not something you have to chase or prove. It's in the small moments where you feel most alive, most authentic, and most aligned. The new year isn't about reinventing yourself or fixing what's wrong. It's about honoring who you already are and taking intentional steps to become even more of that. I know the pressure to do more, achieve more, and be more can feel very overwhelming, especially as the world keeps pushing us to move faster. But remember this, you are enough as you are. And the greatest gift you can give yourself is to live in alignment with your truth. So as you step into the new year ahead, ask yourself, what brings me joy? What feels meaningful? What's aligned with the life I want to create? And then trust yourself enough to follow those answers. Before you go, I want to give you a little gift to carry into the new year. I've created a free affirmation deck for your phone background with some of my favorite affirmations to keep you grounded and inspired all year long. Head over to Alchemia Soaps and use code EmpowHERed to download it for free. You'll find the link and the details in the show notes below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Your support, your presence, and your energy mean more than you know. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need this message. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And leave a comment or review to let me know what your intentions are for the year ahead. I'd love to hear from you and connect with you in this journey. Until next time, protect your energy, honor your growth, and make this one year that feels true to you. Till next time, see you soon.